Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's UFC 135 conference call. Please note today's conference is being recorded. At this time, for opening remarks and introductions, I'll turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Schaller. Please go ahead, sir.
Thanks, Holly, and welcome everyone to the UFC 135 conference call. UFC 135 is presented by Gears of War 3 this Saturday, September 24th, live on pay-per-view. Today we are joined on the call by the welterweight co-main event, Matt Hughes and Josh Koscheck, as well as John Jones, the light heavyweight champion, and the challenger this Saturday, Quinton Rampage Jackson. Jones and Rampage join us from Los Angeles, where tonight they'll be on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Holly, at this time, let's go ahead and open it up for questions.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, that is star one to ask a question at this time. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is star one to ask a question. We'll pause for a moment to assemble the queue. And again, that is star one to ask a question. We'll take our first question from Boulder with USA Today.
Hello, Dave, is Dana on the call today?
Dana is not on the call.
Dana's not on the call. Okay. I'll direct this to Matt then, since he's the most, we'll say, experienced of this group. And basically wanted to ask about going to Denver. And if you have any memories of those first couple of UFC cards, UFC 1, 2, and then Ultimate in Denver, and then how it feels to be going to essentially where it all started.
You know, I think it is pretty cool that this fight is where the UFC started. But I think any of the guys could answer this question. I wasn't, of course, in the UFC when they were in Denver. So, I was just a fan of the sport, just watching through either a cassette tape or if I happened to catch it live. But as far as any recollection about what was really going on in the UFC back in that day, I don't have any.
All right, anyone else? Maybe Rampage?
No.
All right, thanks, Rampage. Josh?
I really didn't even know what the UFC was then, so
all right,
no comment.
All right, and John, I'm not sure was born then.
Oh, y'all got jokes.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Neil Davidson with the Canadian Press.
Yes, thank you. Josh, my question is for you. I wonder if you could tell us how long did it take you before you were able to get back to full training? And also, obviously, it's exciting to get in against a Hall of Famer like Matt Hughes. Do you think that was the kind of fight you needed after the last one?
I've been training for about 4 or 5 months. I took about 3 months off after my fight, just to recover, and went back to the basics. I got in, jiu-jitsu class, and, pretty much went back to just, like when I first started, learning all over again. So, I've been training for quite a while. I've helped a lot of the Strikeforce guys, King Mo, Daniel Cormier, and Luke Rockholt, and Mike Powell, all those guys. I was through all their training camp, training with them, and doing everything that they were doing. So I've been training for quite a while. So, fighting Matt Hughes is a good comeback fight for me. I think that I think the fans deserved this fight a long time ago, and now we're getting the opportunity to do it.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Our next question comes from Dave Meltzer with Yahoo Sports.
Hey, Josh, how you doing? This is also for Josh and for Matt. For Josh, you had talked about fighting in San Jose, and was that kind of like the original idea? And what's your thought on kind of having it moved up a couple of months?
Originally, yeah, I was planning on fighting in San Jose. I thought it'd be cool. I fought twice in Canada last year, and nothing against the Canadians, but God, I want to fight, somewhere closer to home. So, I thought that originally, I'll fight in San Jose, but like I said, I've been training for quite a while, and I'm ready to fight. And fighting in Denver is going to be a great thing. Came about. Diego Sanchez broke his hand, and I instantly got a phone call from Crazy Bob Cook, and pretty much he's like, "Hey, you want to fight Matt Hughes?" I didn't even hesitate. I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "When are we fighting him?" Because I didn't even realize that he was fighting Diego Sanchez. I've been so out of the loop with the UFC. I've just been focused on training, so I didn't even know he was fighting. And he said 19 days. I was like, "Yep, let's do it. I'm in shape. Let's go." So, didn't hesitate to take the fight. And like I said earlier, this is a big fight for Matt Hughes, a big fight for me, and I think it's a great fight for the fans.
Yeah, and have you opened up a gym in Fresno?
Yeah, I got AK Fresno, 2 gyms here in Fresno.
And how's that going?
The gyms do well. We have good instructors. And the gyms are doing really well for the Fresno area. And I believe we're the #1 gym here in this area. So I got great instructors. It's a fun project. The good thing is I don't have to do anything with it. I have a partner that runs everything.
And for Matt, you owned a gym for a while, and I guess that you sold it. I mean, what's the as far as running a gym business? What's kind of your thoughts on that looking back?
Well, I opened it, and the problem was it was an hour away from my house. So I drive an hour, you train, you work out, blah blah blah, and you drive an hour home. And I got sick of that hour drive more than anything else. But I had a general manager who took care of everything. I really didn't have to do anything business-wise. I knew what got me where I'm at today, and it's not running businesses. So I really didn't want to do that. But that hour drive is really what got to me.
And as far as like the change in opponents to Josh from Diego, when you first heard it, what kind of was your emotions going through when you heard about the fight falling apart and then the new fight coming together and Josh Koscheck as an opponent?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was here I've been training, for quite a little while, expecting to fight on this card, and now it's not going to happen. So it was kind of confusion when DW called me. He originally said on the message to me. He originally said to Josh's who's the other welterweight that was supposed to be? I forgot his name already. Gosh, darn it.
John Fitch?
Fitch. He said originally Fitch, and so then I was jumping on a flight, and then I called him back after the flight, and he said no, Koscheck. So it's Dana's call. It's not even my call to decide who it's going to be. So I said yeah, whoever you want, and then that's when the fight took off from there.
And for Josh, I mean, you had kind of been hinting of fighting a guy at 185, and did you have a guy in mind? And was that fight could you say who it was, or was that just kind of you fooling around on the internet?
No, I was definitely interested in fighting at 185 because pretty much everybody at 170 was tied up. Jake Shields was fighting somebody, Hughes was fighting somebody, BJ Penn was fighting somebody, Nick Diaz was fighting somebody, Carlos Condit. Everybody was tied up, and there wasn't really an opponent in the division that I really was eager to fight. But they were all tied up, so I was thinking that hey, I told my managers and I told UFC that I'd love to go to 185, maybe do a rematch with Chris Leben. I know Vanderlei Silva was looking for a fight, so I was just looking for a big fight, and things happen for a reason, and I text Dana White the day of all the confusion with Diego breaking his hand. I said, hey, it's your favorite son, Koss. Make sure I get that fight with Matt Hughes. So what I mean. So he's obviously said that possibly John Fitch, and I was like, well, Fitch has been injured, so. And I'm ready to fight. So, pretty much that's how it all went down. I got the fight.
Thank you. We'll take our next question in the queue from John Morgan with MMAJunkie.com.
Thank you. Yeah, if I could speak first with John Jones, please. John, after the promo that aired the other night on the UFC event, a lot of the public reaction kind of signaled that maybe you seemed intimidated or that Rampage had kind of gotten into your head with some of his pre-fight discussion. Can you kind of react to that and maybe, do you understand why people felt that way?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe because I took a more, I took the back seat maybe to the conversation. Who knows? But, ultimately, man, I'm very, very aware of why I'm here. I'm not here to show that I'm a better talker, to show that I'm better at arguing, show that I'm better at insulting. That's not my mission. My mission is the night of September 24th. To be honest, if I had it my way, I would probably do very, very limited media as possible. But this stuff is recommended by Dana White, and it's somewhat mandatory. So I'm strictly doing my job. So, like I said, my job isn't to out-talk him. I mean, you were talking about an opponent who threatens and harasses literally every opponent in his career's history. I'm very aware of this. So I'll let him talk and have fun and make me look like the scared one. But when I'm in the octagon on the 24th, that's when I'll demand more respect.
Obviously, you probably expected a little bit of this coming in. Can you talk about how it's ranked compared to what you thought, you might see from this opponent? And has it caused you any emotion at all, whether it be, even if it's a positive thing, even if you're feeding off of it, has this talk affected you in any way?
The only thing that bothered me initially was the Spygate situation, and it wasn't necessarily the situation. It was the fact that fans actually considered the fact that I would try to pay someone to go to his camp. First of all, find someone to go to his camp, and then pay someone, and then try to get on this Rampage to trust them, and all this ludicrousness. I thought that was pretty interesting that the fans would think I would do something like that. But outside of that, no, nothing that's bothered me. I'm aware of what I'm up against. I'm aware of the character that I'm up against, and I think it'll make me better in the future. I have some opponents, not that I'm looking past them in any way, but I have opponents in the future that will be big talkers as well. So this is it's educating me and making me a better champion.
Thanks, John. And if I could ask Rampage on that, not sure if you're aware that a lot of people did think that John was kind of intimidated or that you proved you were in his head. What do you think about that reaction? Did you evaluate it the same way, or have you thought about that?
No, I don't care about stuff like that. People can assume that I talk to argue with my opponents, or I'm always aggressive towards them, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If you go back and look at my interviews with Marvin Eastman and Chuck Liddell and Dan Henderson and other guys, you know what I'm saying? I react the way the guys act towards me. When I first met Jones at the press conference, he was real cocky, and he was saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying to a seasoned fighter like me. The guy has never walked in the way I've walked in his sport. So, you know what I'm saying? Basically, he just said the wrong shit, and I treat him the way I treat him because I got no respect for him. So he can say all the stuff he want to say, like I harass my opponents and trying to win an argument game, stuff like that. He can paint any type of picture he want to paint. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care to be in his head or not. That's not my job either. So I didn't even notice. I didn't even care two shits about it, to be honest.
All right. Thank you both, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Dave Dybert with Post Media News.
Hi, thanks, you guys. For Josh, how was there any being gun shy at all coming back from an injury like you did, or were you able to just get right back in there and not even be thinking about the injuries you had last time out?
No gun shy. I got right back in there, and I was flying with a lot of good guys. A lot of good guys that hit hard too. Luke Rock, I was sparring with King Mo. Getting him ready for his fight. So no gun shy. I'm ready to rock. It's been I could have fought a while ago, and I just wanted to take some personal time off and just focus on some other areas outside of fighting, and it was a great time off, and I'm anticipating to come back strong here on the 24th.
Now you've been in the fight game, in athletics in general, for a long time. What previous injuries that you may have had? What's the longest that you've been on the sidelines specifically with an injury in the past, whether wrestling or anything else? What's the worst one you've had before?
In wrestling, I had a fusion 5 and 6 vertebrae in my neck, and I was out for about, I'd say probably about 6 or 7 months. So pretty similar to what I have now, and I came back healthy and ready to rock after that. So I don't feel this injury. Like I said, I was only out with the injury about 3 months, and then I was right back in the gym, working on jiu-jitsu and wrestling and boxing. So, I've been training for a long time, and like I said, I'm always 2 weeks, 3 weeks away from being ready to fight. So.
Is that I don't know if it's nervous energy, but is that energy starting? It's fight week. It's getting close. How much are you looking forward to Saturday night and being back out there in front of the live crowd and having the action for real?
It's one of the things you definitely miss, and it's when you walk out to the crowd and you get in fight in front of a packed house and millions on pay-per-view. It's definitely something that you miss, and I'm super excited about coming to Denver and getting the opportunity to come out there and perform and come out with a big victory.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Warren McCarty with MPIF Radio Denver, Colorado.
Warren, your line is open.
This question is for Matt and Josh. I guess we'll start with Matt first. Just curious as to what you've done to prepare yourself for the altitude. I know that Rampage did his camp here in Denver. John did most of his camp down in Albuquerque, which is high elevation. Just curious what you did to prepare yourself for the thinner air that we have here in the Rockies.
Just made sure my body was in shape, and number 2, I did most of my camp, 4 weeks of my camp in Salt Lake City. So,
gotcha.
Altitude there.
All right, Josh, can you answer the same question, please?
Yep, I'm always in good shape, and I've fought in that area before, so I know I knew what I had to do leading up the 19 days to this fight, and I'm gonna be ready. So.
Okay, thank you guys both, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from Ken Pishna with MMAweekly.com.
Hey guys, this is for Josh. Josh, it sounds like the time off was something beneficial to you and something you kind of enjoyed. You kept really active for a long time. Did you think that, although you didn't want to take the time off for an injury, that taking this time off and having an extended layoff was probably good for you at this point in your career?
Yeah, I think it was a good idea for me to take some time off. Like I said, I took 3 months off totally, and I just did some light running, a couple days a week, and that's about it. And then, and then I got back into, doing regular training, and I was in the gym every single day. I don't think there's a day that went by that I didn't do a workout. So, so I've been training, and I think it was good. I got to focus on a lot of other areas that normally, in the past 5 years I haven't got to focus on. So it was kind of fun, getting away, being able to, spend some time, doing some normal things.
So were you able to work on maybe some newer techniques, or even working on some of the things that you pinpointed in fights that you felt like you needed work on, but you just never had the time because you were always going from fight to fight?
Yeah, I definitely got to, slow the game down and go back and be a student for a little while. And it was kind of nice. I got to actually hook back up with my Muay Thai coach, and he's, him and I split ways a while ago, about a year ago, and now we finally got back together. So that was an added bonus for me. And, I've been working with him for about, 8 or 9 months. And, so it's been good.
So we can expect some wild elbows and head kicks out of Josh Koscheck?
You never know. I have that in my arsenal, so I feel like I've improved as a fighter over the last 3 or 4 months, and I'm excited about this opportunity, and can't wait for Saturday night.
All right, thanks, Josh. For Matt, you've got a long resume, more than 50 fights, and you've been in the title fights, the big marquee fights with Royce Gracie and things like that. what is it that keeps you interested in the fight game at this point in your career? I mean, a lot of guys love to be in the training and all that, but what is it that drives you to want to remain in the octagon at this point in your career?
Well, it's competition. I think that's what drives your top athletes in the UFC is the fact that love getting in there against one other person, and mixing it up. I don't have to rely on 4 other basketball teammates to score baskets or anything. I just gotta rely on myself. So the fact that it's just me and one other person competing in there, that's my big drive right there. I'm consider myself a lucky man. I love going in the gym every day, twice a day. I love traveling with my buddies. I mean, we just all in all, it's a great lifestyle.
And what about the time off for you? Do you enjoy having the extended 8, 9, 10 months off between fights, or would you rather fight more frequently?
I enjoy my time off. There's no doubt about that. So me, what is it, about 10 months off for me? That is fine for me. Gives me a chance to do more training as far as lifting weights, working on technique and stuff like that, where I'm not, really worried about getting in shape. So time off is good for me.
And for John, real quick, John, this is probably the most marquee fight you've been, and even though you were in the title fight with Shogun, and that definitely got a lot of attention, this is probably the biggest media barrage that's been thrown your way in your career. How have you kind of handled that, and has it been more than you expected?
No, I don't feel as if it's been the biggest media barrage that I've been in so far. Leading up to the Shogun fight, I had the pressure of preparing for such a well-versed athlete like Shogun in only 6 weeks' time. That caused a lot of pressure for me. I also had a lot of pressure knowing that I was being involved with a UFC title fight for the first time in my career. That was tremendous pressure. And then on top of that, I had the in-the-moment camera crew following me around. They woke up every morning. They're at my house by 8 o'clock, and they left me about 7 o'clock p.m. Every day in my whole training camp, which was also something that weighed on me heavily. I felt as if the camera crew being there with me 24/7 was a major distraction, and I was hoping that it didn't play a factor in my skill set and in my mental game. But I ended up doing well. So I honestly feel as if the Shogun fight was a lot more pressure and a lot more, just a lot more on me in general. And the biggest thing was in the moment. I mean, literally to have the camera crew watching me train, watching me eat. I felt as if I was being an actor the whole time, and it was weird for me. So this time I don't have any camera crews really. I just have to do my media obligations, which doesn't take too much time, and then it's right back to focusing. Like I said, I actually tweeted, I brought a jiu-jitsu coach and a boxing coach with me, and in between workouts, in between media, we're getting our workouts in, and we're going over the game plan, and I feel great.
Great. Thanks, John. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Chuck Yarborough with the Plain Dealer.
Thanks, guys. This is for Rampage. You haven't been knocked out in about 6 years, I think, and you're going up against a guy who's a knockout specialist. Do you have any concerns about that, or have you adapted your training to the speed of his hands or his elbows?
I'm not even going to answer your question, homie.
Okay. Then for John, he has proven that he's got a concrete job by the fact that he's survived all of those years. Does that make you change your style of fighting?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've been able to finish fights without getting knockouts, and I'm comfortable with that. So, yeah, I just fight my fight, and I'm not one to swing for the fences really. So, I'm happy with my style, and you guys will see, I believe, a more enhanced style. So I'm excited.
And kind of a silly question: have you seen the A-Team, and if so, what's your review?
Have I seen what?
The A-Team, his movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw the movie. I thought Rampage did a good job. I've been doing a little bit of acting with the Kenny Powers K-Swiss commercials, and it was nothing compared to what he had to do for the A-Team. So
despite some of the alleged infighting between you guys, you have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely have respect for Rampage. You know, I think that's why I'm so excited to fight the guy. You know, I was a young guy in college watching him slam people and watching his career, and yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's like fighting somebody who's done so much in the sport. You know, I can only go up by defeating them. You know, for me, there's really nothing personal. I don't have any beef. You know, I don't have any problems, any animosity, any hatred. I'm looking at it as, you know, skills versus skills, and you know, unfortunately, things get a little crazy leading up to the fight. You know, we got to talk junk to each other and stuff like that, but really, it's not personal to me at all. I fight and spar every day, and that's all it is for me.
Thank you. We'll move on next in the queue to Franklin McNeil with ESPN.
Yeah, my question is for Matt Hughes. Matt, you're going into this fight, coming off a fight with BJ that I'm sure you would like to put far behind you. You did go to train with BJ. What did you take from that fight, and what did you pick up from some things you picked up from training with BJ heading into this one?
I picked up a lot from BJ. I mean, he's just got a lot to offer. He's a very, very intelligent fighter, intelligent grappler. So, I mean, I obviously made a couple mistakes in my fight with BJ, and he was able to recognize them and capitalize on them. Really. So, you know, I really, and that was footwork. Had footwork mistake. Picked up on my footwork on my feet, and tried to crack that. It's funny that boxing footwork is a lot different than wrestling footwork. So it's not been the easiest thing picking up the footwork for me as far as throwing punches.
Now, you know, you did talk about what keeps you going as far as liking to train, liking the competition and all of mixed martial arts, but you have been around for a while. You have had a lot of fights. Does this fight, the outcome of this fight, will determine your next move in the sport? Will it have any impact on your decision to continue on professionally in UFC?
No, this is the last fight on the contract, so the outcome of this fight won't really matter, to be honest. After this fight, win or lose, doesn't matter. I'll talk to the UFC, and we'll figure out what we want to do. So my wife tells me I'm done fighting. She wanted me to quit after the BJ fight, but so we'll just see. We'll just see what I feel like, and we'll see what to do. But yeah, this is the last fight of the contract, so it doesn't matter what happens Saturday. We'll make the decision with the UFC.
Okay, great. Good luck. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from Case Kiefer with Las Vegas Sun.
Hi, thanks. Question for John, please. John, going into your last fight, you really talked about how much you looked up to Shogun. You watched some of his Pride videos when you were first starting in the sport. Wondering if you had the same level of admiration for Rampage and some of the stuff he did earlier in his career.
I mean, it was different. You know, Shogun, I really looked up to him a lot because of the fact that he was a Pride champion at 23 or 24. It inspired me at a young age to realize that I could do it at such a young age, you know, to be great at a young age. And I think that's what really made the honor so special, fighting a guy like Shogun. You know, I knew so much about him because I had been watching him for so many years. And I think that's why it showed in our performance that I really knew what I was getting into. But the same level, I think it's a little different. Me and Shogun didn't get such a strong war of words, but you know, it's still a huge honor for me to fight Rampage, man. It's great, man. Like, he's been in the sport for a long time, and so beating him will be huge for me in so many ways, and that's what it's about for me.
Thanks. And if I can just follow up for Rampage, Rampage, what are your thoughts on kind of reaching a point in your career where you're still in really big fights, but now you're facing guys like John Jones who hadn't even really started in the sport when you were kind of in the middle of your career? Do you look at that as an advantage for you?
Do I look at it as an advantage?
Yeah, just that, you know, the experience and you've been around for so much longer.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I do look at it as an advantage. Like, when I had to fight H.E.A.T, I wanted to be the first person to beat H.E.A.T. It was nothing against him, but H.E.A.T was a man and stuff, and everybody thought he was unstoppable. I was kind of late with that and a couple other things, so I want to be the first person to beat John. You know what I'm saying? I basically looked at his fights and stuff like that, and my teammates looked at it and thought that the kid he really ain't fought nobody like me, and everybody's counting me out, and seems like he underestimated me a little bit and stuff like that. So it's making me more and more confident, and this would be he'll be the guy that I'd be the first one to beat in MMA, and then after I relieve him of his first loss, you know what I'm saying, I think John will go on to be a better fighter, you know what I'm saying, so he won't have all that pressure of being undefeated, you know what I'm saying. I know how it is when you're undefeated and stuff like that. You got all that pressure on you, and I'm just the person to give him that first ass whooping so he can go on to be a great fighter that I know he can be.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. We'll hear again from Neil Davidson with the Canadian Press.
Yes, thank you. Quinton, my question is for you. Did John say anything specifically in the lead up to this fight that irritated you?
Yeah, at the press conference in Denver, he was acting real cocky and saying some stuff that was basically uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? For someone who ain't really, had the experience that he haven't had, I don't think that he should have been saying that type of stuff to my face. And I don't know if he was joking, but I took him as he was serious. And so he wanted to say I'm starting talking trash and stuff like that. But if he thinks back, he'll remember that he started all the shit talking first. And the same thing with Rashad. And it's only been basically him and Rashad that I even had ill words with in a long time. Even in my prior career, I always been the same. I joke around and I say my stuff that I say because I'm very confident when I fight. But I don't just be talking a whole lot of trash on my opponents unless they say stuff to me first. And so that's basically what happened at the press conference. He was saying some real cocky stuff that I didn't like, and that's the type of stuff that motivates me to train really hard, and that's basically what he did.
Okay, John, can I ask you, what are your thoughts back on that press conference? Do you see it that way?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was waiting for an example or a quote from him that of anything that I had said that was out of line, outside of saying things that was just self-assuring to me that I could win this fight. I remember at the press conference him saying things about I don't care what John's going to suck on, and I'm going to destroy. He's getting destroyed, and there's quotes throughout this whole training camp, Bambi legs and all that type of stuff. And if somebody actually look up on it and look for specific things that I've said and things that he said, I haven't insulted him one bit, I don't think, outside of saying that I know I'm going to win this fight. But ultimately, I'm not trying to soften up now. I mean, it's the way it's the fight. It's the fight game, and I'll be ready for the fight when it comes. And that's the only thing I've been saying since all of it started.
Actually, you're very mistaken because I can't remember exactly what you said, but you were saying a lot of smart remarks at the press conference when I was sitting over next to you. And some of those remarks you just said, I don't even remember saying them. And I can tell a couple times on the internet I've been misquoted or something because I haven't said anything about your legs or anything else. So I don't even know where this stuff's coming from. You said I said something about your legs, but I can't remember the exact words you said at the press conference. But you remember when we were sitting at that table and you was on the right of me and you said something and I looked at you and you said something smart. I can't remember exactly what you said, but you was doing your cocky smart talk. I remember that.
Okay, good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Chris Pappas with Nashville Sports Radio.
Hey guys, this question is for Rampage and John Jones. And Rampage, I'm pretty sure I know your answer to this, but whoever wins the fight fights Rashad next, and both of you guys have kind of a history with him. Would either one of you be interested in doing the Ultimate Fighter, the first Ultimate Fighter on FX against?
Who are you asking to go first? Hello?
Say it again.
Do you want me to answer first? You said that?
Sure.
You said you want to do another Ultimate Fighter?
Well, I'm pretty sure the answer is no, but FX
you already know.
One against Rashad. I guess
you already know. Honestly, Rashad, I'm not even looking forward to fighting Rashad.
hate to be cliche, but I'm really not focused on any other opponents or any other opportunities. Just now really tapping into the career, and I know there's going to be lots of things to come up in the future, which I'll be grateful for when they come. But right now I'm so close to a dream coming true, which is to be a champion again, and I'm not going to look any other way besides straight.
Thank you. We'll move next to John Morgan with MMAJunkie.com.
Thanks for the follow-up, guys. If I could start with John. John, I'm curious if you've ever found yourself in this position, whether it be in your MMA career or your wrestling career, where there was kind of a verbal battle going into the matchup.
What was your question? Sorry.
No, that's okay. If you've ever found yourself in a similar position like this, whether it be in MMA or maybe your wrestling days or something like that, where an opponent, you did feel was kind of trash talking and that sort of thing.
The only other time was when I fought Brandon Vera. He had said, John Jones, second coming of Jesus Christ, and I don't know why, but that kind of offended me. And at the weigh-in, I got in his face and I kind of was going headbutt with him. I was just a little bit out of character. I really don't know what it was, but he got under my skin a little bit, and that's something I'm learning to deal with at a young age in my career, and I think it's going to benefit me for the future. But the only fighter really that's really got to me before the fight was Brandon Vera.
Well, obviously that was a very good performance for you. I know we've heard GSP say in the past that sometimes when he's angry, he can fight a little bit better. I'm curious if you feel like that anger fueled you a little bit that night, or how it affects you on fight night.
People that anger me and try to insult me, it definitely makes me fight better. And the only reason why it makes me fight better is because it makes me prepare better. I realize that every statement I make and every quote I make, I'll have to back it up, and that's why I try not to insult my opponent. I just try to state things that I believe to be true, and so I know I can't get into a verbal debate with someone and say all these things and lose the fight. I'll look real silly at the end of the fight if I make comments like my opponent doesn't have punching power, and then end up getting dazed or knocked out somehow. So you got to back up the things that you say, and that's why I try not to speak too much when it comes to insults, and just focus on training my butt off so that I'll win the fight.
And do you have that same type of anger heading into this fight, or is this a different feeling?
No, I don't have any anger headed into this fight. I just understand what I'm up against. Like I said, I've been a fan of Quinton before I'm actually fighting him. So I've been watching, all the videos and all the YouTube videos and his whole past and the things that he said in the past and the character that he is. So it's just understanding what you're up against. I'm up against a guy who loves to talk, who loves to entertain, and that's just the beast that I'm fighting. So I just think the awareness helps me keep my composure.
All right, thanks, Sean. And a quick follow-up for Rampage as well. Rampage obviously been in the sport for a long time. John is still relatively young in his career, but a lot of people are putting him as one of the top 3 fighters on the planet right now. Do you agree with that assessment, or do you believe it's too early in his career to be evaluating him that way?
Well, John Jones does have skill, so I got to be honest about it, and I'm not looking past the kid at all, but, the only person he really fought was Shogun, like a champion, but he's coming off a year injury, a very rusty Shogun, and if you have enough fights, and you fought Rusty, you know what it's like to fight Rusty, and if you're a true fighter, you know that there wasn't a true Shogun. So I'm not putting him up there personally, but if anybody want to put him up there, they can. But me personally, I'm not putting him up there as one of the best yet.
Fair enough. And lastly, John is becoming a big superstar in the sport, a very recognizable name and a recognizable face. But you said on multiple occasions that you think he's fake. To be honest, what is it that you see that maybe we're not seeing, or that other people aren't seeing, that don't see the fakeness?
Well, I think a lot of people see it, just because you don't see it, you can't speak for everybody, I can't speak for everybody, but I didn't notice it at first because I don't pay attention to John, but I do pay attention to my followers on Twitter, and they tell me stuff, and then I started looking at him, and you can tell he put on his, real good boy act in front of the camera and stuff like that, and
Thank you. And at this time, we do have time for one question left in the queue. We'll take Dave Metzler.
Yeah, this is back for Josh. I had seen an interview where you mentioned about like the pain level of the eye injury, and you mentioned like it was comparable or something to losing a toe. I mean, can you kind of explain what you meant by that?
Yeah, after that fight, I was in the GSP fight in December. I was in a lot of pain. I've had a couple of surgeries. I've had obviously my neck surgery when I was a kid. When I was in college, my fusion 5 and 6, and then when I was a young kid, about 4 years old, I was doing something I wasn't supposed to do with a hatchet, and I cut my toe off. And the pain that I experienced in both of those surgeries didn't compare to the eye injury. I had a lot of nerve damage done in the face, and the face is a very sensitive, and the nerve damage that you have in the face is magnetize the pain levels in your bodies a lot more. So it was a lot of pain, and I got through it via pain pills and morphine that night, and it was a fun experience. Needless to say that that I don't want to go through ever again. So it taught me how to in my training camp to move my head and not get punched as much. So so that's a lot of things that we've been focusing on. So I'm blessed to be back in the octagon again, and I'm thanked that the UFC gave me this opportunity on short notice, and like I said, I can't wait for Saturday night. It sounds like from listening to all these interviews of Rampage and Jones and Hughes and myself, it's going to be a good fun night for the fans.
And as far as was there ever a concern that you couldn't come back like that first couple of weeks, or did you always know you were coming back?
No, I always knew I was coming back. Regardless of the outcome, the doctors, I was gonna see the right doctors, and the doctor that I saw in Boston, she was amazing. She went in and didn't have to put any other lacerations on my face. Went in through an old cut, and went in and fixed it. And she's worked with a lot of great athletes from over the years for the Patriots and all the sports over in Boston. So so she did a great job, and here I am back again after 7 or 8 month layoff. So I can't complain. I'm back, and just got to go back out there on Saturday night and prove that I'm back.
And what's her name?
Dr. Tribulus, Maria Tribulus.
Maria Tribulus. Okay, thanks, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, and that was all the time we have left for questions today. I would now turn the conference back over to Mr. Schaller for any additional closing remarks.
All right, thanks, Holly, and thank you to John Jones, Quinton Rampage Jackson, Matt Hughes, and Josh Koscheck, who joined us today. UFC 135, once again, this Saturday, live on pay-per-view. Also, just a reminder, tomorrow in Los Angeles, we will have our UFC on Fox press conference featuring Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, and UFC President Dana White. That'll be at 1 p.m. at the W Hollywood Hotel in Hollywood, California. That is free and open to the public and stream live at UFC.com. Again, thanks for everybody for joining the call. Don't forget, Rampage and Bones on Kimmel tonight. Have a great day, everybody.